Hi, I'm going to make a short demonstration of measuring the hotness of Peri-Peri Drizzle. So this is Nando's Peri-Peri Drizzle. In front of me I've got a couple of pieces of tech. I've got the Scoville meter, or the Food Sense Generation 4, which is actually in Bluetooth connection at the moment with my phone, and all this will become apparent in a minute. I do have some chili sensors here, and that will be explain the operation of those in a minute. And I also have the peri-peri sauce. I've also got a sample, and I'm going to describe the preparation of that sample. That said, let me jump back to it and just say, okay, so we're going to measure the hotness of this peri-peri drizzle. I'm going to measure it in the units of Scoville heat units. And that said, let me go forward a little bit more with discussion on actually how I, let's say, prepared this. How we prepared it was, the first thing I did notice, and you won't be able to see it on the camera, so I did take a picture earlier on, is it's a sort of emulsion. I mean, an emulsion is, sort of a mix between, oils and liquid. And that said, see, you can sort of see little oils sort of floating in it, and it's quite viscous. So the first thing I actually did do was I vortexed it. And now I do have a vortex in front of me, which is a vortex I actually use. And so I sort of, essentially a vortex that just allows me to kind of shake it up quite rapidly and try and homogenize it. Otherwise, you can end up with some quite variable, you could end up with variable results. And it's nothing to do with the accuracy or the precision of the Food Sense Generation 4 for measuring the Scoville heat units of this. It's actually just because this kind of material can be quite heterogeneous. So watch out for that sort of heterogeneity. That said, I vortexed it, and that will definitely help with the homogeneity of it. The next thing I then did is actually measured out 0.1 milliliters, which is 100 microliters. So I did weigh that out, not weigh out, sorry, I measured it out with a pipette, and you can see that in the sort of image here, that it just sat at the bottom of the vial. The next thing I did is I actually used some of what's called the chili pot buffer. So we have some of this buffer, and I just mixed the drizzle with 0.9 milliliters of the buffer. So I took 0.1 milliliters of the drizzle. I put it in a little vial. I mixed that with 0.9 milliliters of the buffer, and then I did actually vortex that. Otherwise, you essentially got an oil sitting at the bottom of a water or an aqueous solution. And so I did, as I say, vortex that. Again, I got this vortex in front of me, so I just did a quick vortex on that. And it really kind of helps to, it makes a very fine emulsion, basically. I mean, it is cloudy, and that's because it is actually an emulsion. But that's enough to essentially get the capsaicin into the liquid phase. I didn't centrifuge it, it wasn't necessary. The nice thing about the Food Sense Generation 4 and the sort of technologies that we use at ZP is you don't have to necessarily do a lot of sample prep. Other analytical systems, for example, HPLC, it could take several hours to actually have prepared the sample. Now what I want to do now is add 50 microliters, and I want to run a test. So what I will do is I'm just going to flick to this screen again. I'll just take out this old sensor, put it aside, and then I'll get a fresh sensor here. You can see me on both cameras. I'm just going to click one of these out. I will put it back into the meter. There we are. That all aligns up nicely. I'll take 50 microliters of the sample. And I put that on there, and what I will do is I'll actually just bring my phone slightly into shot. When I say slightly into shot, I realize it's not going to be super clear, and I have been looking for ways of obviously sharing the screen of this, but I just want to kind of give this a what I call an ID, so that I can find the data later on. It's something I've not actually mentioned so far, and so maybe this is the right time to mention it. Even though I'm going to do a rapid measurement now, and I'll get a result on my phone now, the beautiful thing is actually all the data also goes to the cloud. So later on I can find out the operator, the time, the date, the result, which is really important, and actually the raw signal as well. So I've done that. So I've just put the ID in there. I'll go to assay. Now, when I was doing this, I did what's called a 1 in 10 dilution. Depending on the concentration suspected of capsaicin. Now, this is a drizzle. It's quite a mild thing, so I knew just to do a 1 in 10 dilution. If it was something more like a hot sauce, I might have done 1 in 100. If it was a chili powder, I would have done something like 1 in 1,000. And if it was like a super hot, something like a Carolina Reaper powder or Pepper X, I would have gone for sort of 10 in 1,000. That said, it's 1 in 10. I'll hit the start measurement. So now what it's doing is the app is essentially the brains of this outfit. It's in Bluetooth connection with the device itself. You can see this little sort of flashing lights. What's going on here is this is running the assay. I'm getting some feedback because of the LEDs that the assay is actually running. And then my phone is also tracking as well. What's really beautiful about the kind of science that we do operate at ZP is that it doesn't take hours to get the result. There's no point. You can't do manufacturing and quality control with results that take an awfully long time. I think this is actually a really good result because it's come back and told me that the Scoville heat unit, and I know that's it's too shiny, let's say, to actually see, but it's come back and told me that the result for this is Scoville heat unit of 1,337, which makes really good sense because it is, I mean, it's not really, something, it's not super scientific. So it is spicy, not terribly spicy, and you could sort of think of Tabasco sauce as being something more like 2,000 to 5,000. So this is definitely not as spicy as that. One of the I should just go. If I do done now, if I do done on that, what it will then do then is it will actually get ready for the essentially the next test. So it's a pretty rapid result. And just one last feature now is I just want to show you is if I just go to here, all the results actually go up to the cloud. So I can actually see the test that I just did. I can see the time and date here. I can see the operator, and I actually get the raw result. And there we are, see. So I did a 1 in 10 dilution, and I can actually see the name that I gave it, the date that this happened, the time. You can see it's in the evening here. Again, it's easier to read here. Time 1948. The date and the operator. I get the raw signal, and I can see the raw signals here, and I also get that result as well, 1,337 Scoville heat units. So it's a pretty, let's say, elegant and fast way of actually being able to measure the Scoville heat unit of chili sauces. So I would simply sort of end with, if you've got any questions regarding, I said chili sauces, but if you've got any questions regarding measuring the hotness of chili-based products, then please don't hesitate to reach out to us at ZP. Okay, thanks very much.